Arudas. All of you know how to calculate Arudas. We will recalculate them today and see if we really know how to calculate Arudas. Aruda Pada. Aruda means that which you are mounted upon. For example, Durga is called Simharuda. So that means Durga is riding a lion. We are going to be examining this from that perspective also. Which animal are you and which deity is riding you? Because everybody has an Aruda Lagna, right? Yes. So that means you are an Aruda for someone. Who is riding you? Which devata is riding you? Is what we'll examine. Okay. Each deity is riding somebody. So therefore we have to figure out which animals we are. Kubera has Manusha Aruda. He rides a human being. You know anybody else? Who they ride? Shiva, who does he ride? A bow. Nandi Aruda. Right? That Nandi Aruda, the Nandi, is the Rigveda himself. So Nandi is the personification of the Rigveda. So when we say Shiva is riding a bull, we mean that his seat, the means through which he enters your life, is through the Rigveda. You read the Rigveda regularly, Shiva will sit on your head. That's good incentive, isn't it, to read the Rigveda? Ganesha, what is his asana? Or rather, what is his Aruda? A mouse. A small mouse. Who is that mouse? Yama.
The mouse.
The mouse is Yama. Alright. Ganesha, when Yama knocked on Ganesha's door, Ganesha said, Big Yama, what do you want? He said, I've come, it is my job, I have to take you with me. He said, really? Turned him into a mouse and rode him around the zodiac. Now imagine that big Ganesha, huge Ganesha, huge. He's riding a small mouse like this. Maybe like this at most. I don't know how big mice were back then. Not big, obviously, right? This mouse. Huge elephant riding that mouse. How do you think Yama's going to feel? Riding around the zodiac on that mouse? Okay. Ganesha can protect longevity. Right? This is what this also implies. So we're going to be examining Aruda Padas from this perspective. First we have to calculate Arudas. Let's see. Sutra 1.130. Repeat after me. Yavad.
Yavad.
Isha Ashrayam.
Isha Ashrayam.
Padam Rikshanam.
Padam Rikshanam.
Translates to, as many places the Lord has been displaced. As many signs or nakshatra is the Aruda. Now some of you will start thinking, hello, wait a minute. Nakshatra Aruda.
What?
Yes, we have nakshatra Arudas. Because the word used is Rikshanam. Remember I said, Riksha refers to nakshatras also. Refers to Rashis also. So we can have nakshatra Arudas, Bhava Arudas, and Graha Arudas. All based on this. This one sutra gives us the dictum to find all Arudas. Okay? This has a different translation also. You see this word Disha. Disha. Disha refers to direction. Yava means a junction. So the junction, direction, Ashraya means to take shelter in. Pada we know as Aruda, and Riksha we know as Rashi Nakshatra. So the direction in which you should take shelter is seen from the Aruda sign. What were we doing the other day? We were seeing Digbala from the Aruda. This is the dictum which allows us to take Digbala from the Aruda. So in one sutra, Jaimini has told us the calculation and the use. One sutra. Find the Aruda, From the Aruda, find the directions which are auspicious for you. Okay? One sutra. I like the Jaimini. He doesn't waste his time. So, there are 4 Aruda defined here. Bhava and Graha Aruda in both Rashi and Nakshatra. So we'll have Graha Arudas in Nakshatra, Graha Arudas in Rashi. Bhava Arudas in Nakshatra, Bhava Arudas in Rashi. The principle is this. Count from the sign to the Lord and the same distance therefrom. Or sign, what can we infer from? From Nakshatra to its Lord, same distance therefrom, as many Nakshatras therefrom, right? Or from the Lord to the sign, and as many signs therefrom. If we count from the sign to its Lord, it is the Bhava Aruda. We will not talk of Nakshatra Aruda today. There is a Nakshatra discussion. We will talk about Bhava Aruda and to some extent Graha Aruda. To some extent. You have to understand these. Bhava Aruda. For example, if my Lagna is Scorpio and my Lagna Lord is in Capricorn, where will the Aruda Lagna fall?
Pisces.
Pisces. You sure? Yes. How did you do it? From a Scorpio to Capricorn is 3rd house. 3rd house from Capricorn is? Pisces. So, Pisces will be where the Aruda sits. Standard calculation of Arudas. Good. This is Bhava Aruda. If Scorpio is my Lagna, then that Aruda will be called Aruda Lagna.
That is if you take Ketu as Lagna Lord.
I didn't say take Ketu as my Lagna Lord. I said if my Lagna Lord was placed there.
Okay.
Okay. Alright. So, it can also be called Lagna Aruda. Not just Aruda Lagna, but Lagna Aruda or Lagna Pada. All these are synonyms for the same thing which we call Aruda Lagna. Aruda Lagna, Lagna Aruda, Lagna Pada. In the Nadis, Graha Arudas have a very specific name. They are not called Aruda of Mars or Aruda of Jupiter. No, they are not called that. They are called Arudas by which sign was used to calculate the Aruda. For example, Jupiter. It has 2 signs, Sagittarius and Pisces. Okay? So, if you count it from, let's say Jupiter is in Aquarius. And I want to find out the Jupiter's Aruda for Pisces. Where will it fall? Count from Aquarius to Pisces. Because I'm talking about Jupiter's Aruda, a Graha Aruda now. So I count from the Lord to the sign. So from Jupiter and Aquarius to Pisces is? 2nd house. 2nd house. Right?
Yeah.
Now count 2nd house from Pisces? Aries. So the Aruda of Jupiter for Pisces falls in Aries. We will call this Pisces Aruda. We don't call it Jupiter Aruda. We call it Pisces Aruda. Alright? Pisces Aruda. So what will they say in the scriptures? Instead of Pisces Aruda, they'll call it Meena Aruda. Right? Or Matsya Aruda. They'll call it that. Meena Aruda, Matsya Aruda. What if I find out, the same example, the Aruda for Sagittarius? Where will it be? Jupiter and Aquarius?
Yeah, then
Libra.
How do we do this? Jupiter is in Aquarius.
Yeah.
Count from Jupiter to Sagittarius. Right? What is the number you get? 11th house. Count 11th house from Sagittarius? Libra, Tula. What will we call this Aruda? Chapa Aruda. Because it's from Sagittarius. Sagittarius is also called Chapa or Dhanush. Right? Dhanur Aruda. So in the Nadis, there's no such thing as Guru Aruda. There's no such thing. Or Mangala Aruda. No. It's called Meena Aruda for Pisces and it's called Dhanu Aruda for Sagittarius. It's good to note down. You read some scriptures and you'll say, Mina Ruda, this Ruda, that Ruda. And the translator will say, if a Ruda Lagna is in Pisces, this and this will happen. It's completely wrong. Completely wrong. But now you know better. The difference between Graha Ruda and Bhava Ruda. Bhava Ruda will always be called by the name of the house. Graha Ruda will always be called by the name of the sign.
Graha Aruda, name of the sign.
Yes. Bhava Ruda, name of house. Okay? Good. Good. Now, there are two exceptions. Read after me. Svaste Dara.
Svaste Dara.
Now, let's see the Katapayadi for Swaste. Okay? Va is 4. Is there anything else there?
Ta.
Da, that's part of Dara. So Dara. Da is 8, Ra is 2. 28 is the reversal of that. Remove multiples of 12, we'll get 4. Because closest is 24. So 28 minus 24 is 4. So, the translation. When in fourth, the Ruda is in fourth. What does that mean? It means, let's say I have Scorpio Lagna. And the Lagna Lord is in Aquarius, which is 4th house. Then my Ruda Lagna will be in the same 4th house. That is what he's saying here. Okay. We do the same for Graha Ruda. Let us say I have Lord of Scorpio in Leo. Okay. My Lord of Scorpio is in Leo. Let's just say assume that. So from Lord of Scorpio, which is in Leo, to Scorpio itself is 4th house. Right? From Leo to Scorpio is 4th house. So the Aruda of my Lord of my Lagna will fall in Scorpio itself, which is the 4th house from the Lord. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Is there anything unclear? Stop me now.
It's no, it doesn't make the second example doesn't make very much sense to me.
Graha Ruda.
Yeah.
So let's try again. I will say Scorpio Lagna. Now I'll give easy example. I will use Gemini Lagna, Mithuna Lagna, Mercury in Pisces. And I want to find the Graha Ruda of Mercury for Gemini. In other words, Mithuna Ruda, Gemini Ruda. Okay? So count from Pisces to Gemini, because the Lord is in Pisces.
4.
To Gemini, 4th house. Because it's in 4th therefrom, it'll be in the same place, 4th.
Okay.
So the Ruda will be in that same place, which is in Gemini.
Is it an exception?
It is an exception, yes. Because as you know from normal counting, you normally count from that sign to the 4th and 4th therefrom. So here he's saying there's an exception. If in 4th, it's in the same place. If in 4th, the Ruda is in 4th. That's what he means by this. What is the 4th Tithi? Chaturthi. Right? Who is worshipped on Chaturthi?
Ganesh.
Ganesh. Repeat after me. Sutaste Janma.
Sutaste Janma.
Nice. You see this ste? Ste means placed in. Did you know that? When something is placed in. Ste. So when we read Svaste, we have to do Katapayadi of Sva. So when we read Sutaste, we should do Katapayadi of Suta. Okay. Let me just, I think it's slightly, there we go, right? So tell me Katapayadi of Sutta. Sutta?
Could it be secret? It's still on your hand. We can still see.
Siete. Impossible.
Sa is 7. Ta is
6,
6. Reverse the 2.
7,
Remove multiples of 12.
7.
7. Alright. So, Sutta means 7. So, if in 7th,
Yes.
Janma.
From.
Janma normally means Lagna,
Yes.
right? Like Sutta means 5th house, right? Jaimini is serious when he says, I'll never refer to the houses or signs by their name. Janma. Ja is, we know here, 8. And Ma is 5. Reverse the 2, 58. Remove multiples of 12, you get 10. So what is he saying? When in 7th, it is in 10th. If the Lord of the sign, or the reference point, is in 7th therefrom, the Aruda will be in 10th. What do these two bear for similarity? If I take normal count, if I ignore this, and I say Gemini Lagna, Mercury in Virgo, Lord of Gemini is in 4th house. Then from Gemini to Virgo is 4th house, where the Lord is. The same distance therefrom is 4th, which is 7th house. So, if we apply this 4th house is 10th therefrom. So that means, by understanding this, we say, if the Aruda is in 1st or 7th house from the Lagna, or its reference point, the bhava in question, counts 10th therefrom. Right? This is what you've learned so far.
Same.
It's the same thing.
Yes, same.
This is just telling us the quick exception. It's just telling us the quick exception. This also applies to, if say, the Lord of the sign is in 10th therefrom, then again it will fall in 4th. Okay. This one is saying, if in 7th therefrom. Now if I counted from Lagna Gemini to Mercury in Sagittarius, and I counted the Aruda by normal method, it'll fall back in the Lagna. And then we're told, take 10th therefrom. This is the same as this exception. If in 7th, it's in 10th.
That falls in Pisces.
Yes, in that case it'll fall in Pisces. Does this make sense?
I'm still grappling to understand, but in about 10-15 minutes, I guess it'll dawn on me.
Please ask me now, because you may not in 10-15 minutes. We're going to go deeper now.
So the exception is, when Lagna Lord is in 7th,
Yes?
we must count 10th from 7th.
There are two things here. Jaimini gives it very simply. If in 7th, put the Aruda in 10th, from the Lagna, from the reference point. Then I derived, if the Lord of the sign is in 7th, then if we ignore these calculations, these exceptions, then the Aruda would fall in the Lagna.
Yes.
And we know that if it falls in the Lagna or 7th, count 10th from that point. Jaimini has given us the quick way.
Okay.
This is quick. He says, if in 7th, put it in 10th. If in 4th, put it in 4th. What we should also know is, if in 4th or 10th, put in 4th. If in 1st or 7th, put in 10th. Okay?
Yes.
So I derived this after that. He gives us the exception, but then we derive it and say, this is because if the Aruda Lagna falls in 1st or 7th from Lagna, from that point take the 10th house. Why is this exception necessary? You may have heard, the 1st and 7th house have Satya in it. Aruda is supposed to be like Maya.
Hi. Morning.
So, wherever there is Satya, Maya cannot fall. Okay? So from there, we take 10th. The Aruda has to be recreated. It has to be recreated. Note that. Now tell me, the 4th Tithi, Ganesha is worshipped, yes?
Yes.
Who is worshipped on the 10th Tithi?
Dasami.
Who? What is the 10th Tithi called? Dashami. Who is worshipped on the 10th Tithi?
I guess the Rama maybe.
He was on 9th Tithi.
Not it.
Ram Navami
Rama.
is 9th Tithi.
Yes.
So who's on 10th? But there's a connection to Rama in the 10th. We celebrate a day in connection to Rama and the Diwali on Dashami for a certain event which happened when he defeated Ravana. Victory. We call it Vijaya. Vijaya Dashami. And who is worshipped on Vijaya Dashami? How did he defeat Ravana? Rama had a mantra, he did. He had a mantra for this.
Shiva.
No, not a Shiva mantra. This was not a Shiva mantra. He had also a Shiva mantra, but he didn't do that for defeating Ravana.
Navaratri.
Yes, it's connected to Navaratri.
Yes,
Who is worshipped during Navaratri?
Naitara. Devi.
Devi.
Yeah.
Specifically Durga. He had a 10-syllable Durga mantra to defeat Ravana, which he got in Puri just before coming to defeat Ravana. Okay. You know that 10-syllable mantra? You know it? Om Aim Hreem Kleem Chamundaye Viche. If you don't know it, write it down. Om Aim Hreem Kleem. Yes, I know, you should. I've written it already. You should know it. Chamundaye Viche. Om Aim Hreem Kleem Chamundaye Viche. Om Aim Hreem Kleem Chamundaye Viche. Rama did not take the mantra in this form. When he got it, it was Aim Hreem Kleem Chamundaye Viche, and he added Om to it. After which the mantra became known as Rama Chandi mantra. Chandi mantra became Ram Chandi. He did it with a 10-syllable mantra worshipping Durga, and he defeated Ravana. So, who is worshipped on the 10th Tithi? Durga. Who is worshipped on 4th Tithi? Ganesha. So, when the Aruda is destroyed, it will either be recreated by Ganesha or it will be recreated by Durga. And it is Durga who takes the mud and clay and forms it into her child, which is Ganesha. So these two Tithis and these two Arudas refer to one who is being whom Ganesha is on riding, and one who Durga is riding. You ever thought of that? No. Why these two houses? Now this is the derivation of this first 7th house thing. If the Aruda falls in the 1st or 7th house, the image of that house is continually destroyed, and the native struggles to remake it all the time with the blessings of Ganesha and Durga. Ganesha and Durga are recreating the Aruda because it's not being maintained properly. It's constantly being destroyed. Constantly. It's falling apart. That is why we have this exception. The Aruda is getting destroyed. These people will continually remaking their Arudas. Start one business, it went down. Start another business, it was broken. Start another business, it was broken. Start a new type of work, no, out of the window. Start new career, out of the window. All the time restarting. And Ganesha and Durga are maintaining that Aruda to be created again. This can include different ideas about which title they should occupy in the world. Because Arudas are all about title, who you think you are. And may have pursued many professions. Okay? This is not unusual for people who are astrologers. They may have pursued many professions before getting into astrology. It's not unlikely. It's quite normal. This is what I've explained.
I'm sorry, Lucy, can you please put back the previous slide?
This one.
Yes.
Kanya Lagna. So nicky picky about reading everything. Assuming it's important to read everything.
I don't understand the second point. If the Yoruba falls in the first or second house, it cannot fall.
That's the point. When you do your calculation without the exception, it may fall in first or seventh. Then from there you count 10th to get the new Aruda, which is the real Aruda. Okay, do you understand? Yes, do you understand this?
Yes, I still don't understand why it is destroyed. Why it is destroyed the Ruda because of Satya?
Yes.
Because you cannot create an image. You
See, there are
have to be truthful, and then it is destroyed, or what?
There are two truths in this world, which Maya cannot accept. You know why Maya cannot accept? Not this Maya. Maya cannot accept a factor of this world, and that is that something is existing by being created, and that suddenly that something is dying. Arudas can live beyond death. Your body may leave, but the Aruda will continue. The Aruda cannot accept death. And the idea that something was once created, well, iPhone 4 has always been there. Is the idea. You never think of the time when iPhone 4 wasn't there. For example, when something is created, you assume it to be there forever. You assume it was there forever. And you think that it always will be with you. That is the way objects are. No, but the Aruda does not think about maintenance. It thinks everything is everlasting. Like human beings believe that they will live forever. And when they're brought to the realization, you will die one day. It will happen. It will happen. They get scared suddenly. But they have known since birth that they are going to die one day. But Arudas cannot handle that. Arudas cannot accept that. You understand? That is what Aruda is all about. So when the Aruda falls in these first to seventh, we have the exception. Count 10th therefrom. If in first house, we count 10th therefrom to find 10th house. If in 7th house, we count 10th therefrom to get 4th house. That's the reason. Okay? Clear?
This is what you explained already.
This is what I've explained already. The fourth Chitti is that of Ganesha, who was born out of the clay, as formed by the Mother Durga, who is the actual mother sitting in the Soma chakra. Sitting with Somnath. 10. The Mother Durga is worshipped on the 10th Tithi as the same creator. Beginning with the 4th Tithi, ascertain the Devata worshipped on the various Tithi and map them into the various houses from Lagna. Omit 1st, 2nd and 3rd Tithi because we're starting with Ganesha on the 4th. Break. Homework. Tell me the Devatas of all the Tithi from the 4th to the 15th. Okay. So, 4th Tithi you know, Ganesha. 5th? Naga. How do you worship Naga?
With for Balaram mantra.
Balabhadra mantra. Very good. Very good. Balabhadra Naga upholds all the lokas, yes? And that can be symbolized by this Shushumna Nadi, correct? So who else do we worship on this day? Saraswati.
So it is Saraswati.
Saraswati. Okay, 6th Tithi. 4th Tithi was 4th house. 5th Tithi is 5th house. 6th Tithi. Who do we worship there? Kartikeya. Why are you looking at Agnan? You should have written down also yourself, Diego.
No.
You have? Okay, good.
Nobody
Kartikeya, Subramanya, right,
Yes, I-
correct. Sixth Tithi, sixth house, Subramanya.
Hmm.
Seventh Tithi,
Says
Surya.
Surya, yes. Ratha Saptami, we worship the sun's chariot.
Satya.
We call it Ratha Saptami. Ratha means chariot, Saptami means the seventh day. Sun god is worshipped. Ravi or Surya. Eighth Tithi, Jens. Who is worshipped on the eighth Tithi?
I don't know.
Ashtami Tithi.
Ask me to be.
Ashtami, tell me. Who is worshipped on Ashtami?
Rudra.
Somebody was born then. Janmashtami is called. Come on.
Rudra.
Hare Krishna.
it's,
Krishna.
Radha.
Krishna is worshipped on Janmashtami. Write that down.
She was just correct.
Yes.
Somebody
But
said
put
Krishna. Who
Rudra.
said?
I say Krishna, but
Yeah.
You're right in Krishna. You also write about Rudra. Worship Krishna on this day.
Very good. Astami, Krishna Astami,
Yes. Navami. Who was born on Navami?
Rama.
Ram Navami,
Rama
correct. It's not so hard.
Is Ambika.
Navami is Rama Navami.
Yes. But
You have
they
another
said
list,
Ambika.
it will say Durga there. Another list will say Durga, Ambika, alright, fair enough.
Rama
That is the internal faculty of the Tithi that we use for understanding yourself. You can worship Ambika to understand the internal aspects of that Tithi. But here we're talking about Aruda, that which is manifesting, that which everybody celebrates. Everybody celebrates these Tithis. How many people do you know that on Ram Navami worship Ambika? Not really. External manifestation is Aruda. Dashami you know, Vijaya Dashami, Durga worship, Chandi worship. Ekadashi, what do we do on Ekadashi?
Fast.
What do we fast from?
Vishnu.
Fast from. What is it we are fasting from? What do we not eat?
Anger.
What do we not eat?
Grains.
Grains. Who holds the grains? Who holds the corn?
Parapurusha.
Lakshmi holds the corn. So Ekadashi is for Lakshmi. I'll prove it to you. I'll prove it to you later. Ekadashi is for Lakshmi. Dwadashi, 12th house, 12th Tithi. Who is worshipped there? Vishnu, correct. All lists will say this. There will not be one list which does not deny this.
No avatar, Vishnu.
Vishnu, no avatar, Vishnu. 13th Tithi, you should get Ananga or something, right? Ananga. Kamadevata is another name. We don't worship Kamadevata or Ananga. That is the internal faculty of the Tithi.
So what do you worship from?
Two options are there. Brihaspati is worshipped on Trayodashi. Like there's a day called Guru Trayodashi, Brihaspati Trayodashi. Or, more commonly, Agni is worshipped.
On the 13th day.
Yes.
Agni.
14th Tithi.
Shiva.
Very good. Shiva 100%. 14th Tithi is which house? 12th Tithi was 12th house. 13th Tithi is Lagna. 14th Tithi is second house. Good. Shiva, second house. Bull, Nandi, Taurus. 15th Tithi. Now 15th Tithi there are two types. One is new moon, one is full moon. Right?
Yeah.
So there will also be two devatas, one for each. Also depending on how you want to approach that Tithi. You have to decide. So 15th Tithi can be new moon. Who do we worship on new moon? Amavasya.
Sure, if it's Kali or Durga.
Kalika.
Kalika.
Kalika. Like Bhadrakali. Kalika. Amavasya. To overcome the darkness. On the full moon, who do we worship? Purnima. There's a vrata done on this day.
Guru.
Guru.
Purnima.
No, not Guru Purnima. You can, but it's a different type of vrata. Satyanarayana Vrata. Satyanarayana. Not just Narayan, but Satyanarayana. Now you should have all the houses covered. Don't you? All 12 houses? Ah, yes. Interesting.
But what about first floor?
Which first floor?
Second,
First, second, third.
first, second, third floor.
How many houses do you have in the chart? 12, right?
Okay.
How many titis do you have? 15.
Yes.
We start from the 4th titi and go to the 15th.
Okay.
13, 14, 15th will cover first, second and third houses.
What was the Yama? Yes.
Ganesh, Ganapati.
Ganapati Tubhyam Namah.
What's the Yama?
Any lists which not
Yes.
making sense?
His chariot. So this is
Yeah, yeah.
Ganesha, and this is Naga. Worship Devata Saraswati.
So, 4th titi Ganesha, 5th titi Saraswati, 6th titi I prefer Subramanya. You know, especially ladies, they should worship Subramanya. So they'll worship a nice Brahmin. Su means nice, good, sweet. Brahmanya, Brahman. Must worship a nice Brahmin. Subramanya. Okay.
Brother of Ganesh.
Yes. Skanda and Kartikeya are also his forms, as a Shanmurugan. But do you want to worship those forms? I don't know. What are you asking for? Maybe you have a troublesome neighbor, you can. Otherwise, Subramanya. 7th titi, Surya. 8th titi, Krishna. 9th titi, Rama. 10th, Durga. 11th, Lakshmi. 12th, Vishnu. 13th, Agni. 14th, Shiva. 15th, Kali or Narayan. Depending on how you want to treat that Aruda.
How can we
So
do
these
this
are not
for what?
Rudas.
In each every day we are looking to titis from Panchanga, so
You can. I'm going to give you something more practical. Much more practical. This is your universe. You will have a chart, right? We all have a chart. Put these deities in those houses in the chart. From 4th house to 3rd house. Put them all in there. This is your universe. This is your Jagannath. Jagat means universe. Jagannath. You're the one who is in this universe as the Lord. You're Jagannath. And any Arudas in these houses from Lagna can get activated with these deity worship. Let us say you want to write a book. Aruda of 3rd house. You want the book to come out. Which house is your Aruda of the 3rd house in? 6th house in your case.
Kartika.
So you'll worship Subramanya and the book will be published. You'll finish it and publish it. My Aruda of the 3rd house is in 7th house. 7th house, which titi? The 7th titi. Surya. So who will I worship to publish a book?
So
Have you seen on my book? The first page of the book has a nice big fat sun on it. Just to be sure the sun was not left anywhere hanging idle, just put it there in the front. Done. Finished.
So for example, should we chant Supramaya, Supramaya, something like this?
They are mantras for Subramanya. Okay?
Do you give the
I
all
can't
the
remember
mantras?
them right now. I can't remember Subramanya mantras right now, but I'll look for it and then I'll give you. Okay? You can do it in any way that you know. Okay? Like for Krishna, any way that you know. Rama, any way that you know. Subramanya, I have to look. You can always do Subramanyaya Nama. It will work. It will work.
the book is for A3.
Oh yeah, yes, now I remember. Hrim Subramanyaya Namah. Now I just have to say his name and the mantra. I'm sorry?
This is for A3.
My A3 is in 7th house from Lagna. Just see. My 3rd house is Makara, Capricorn. My Lord of 3rd house Saturn is in Virgo. Count from Capricorn to Virgo, I get 9. Count 9th house from Virgo, I get Taurus. Taurus is my 7th house from Lagna. Surya worship.
Just ask you, what if the Lagna falls into third house? So do we use Purnima or Amavasya?
You decide. You want to end it or you want to make it begin again? Some people will say, I want to get over this darkness which is coming on my Ruda and restart my Ruda. Kali worship.
Does it mean that your whole 7th bhava is controlled with Surya?
All the Arudas there are.
Only this implies only to Aruda.
This is for Arudas,
Not
yes.
for Rashi, sir.
Du looking from the D10 also.
This is for Rashi. This is enough for Rashi. Because if you manifest the Ruda in your Rashi, it manifests in this world. In the D10, it'll manifest only when you go to work. And as soon as you leave work, it's not there anymore. See that? So what is best? Rashi. It'll stay in your Rashi. It'll stay as every part of your life. That's good. Okay.
What is Chandi mantra, for example?
Yeah, for the 10th house. The one Rama did. Om Aim Hrim Klim Chamundaye Viche. That's chanting mantra. Do the same as Rama.
The 5th house is Brihaspati, Agni.
13th, yes. 1st house. Agni you will do.
Jupiter.
I'll show you some ways to worship Agni. I worship Agni with bejas. These long mantras. I can worship Agni with bejas. Or take the first Rik of the Rig Veda. Agni mire purohitam yagyasya devam ritwijam otaram ratnadhatamam.
Image was possible Brihaspati or Agni.
Yes. Yes, exactly.
Saraswati?
Saraswati. Saraswati Namah. Held in pause.
Om det er mere optagelse, men du stopper den hver 3 kvarter, så starter den igen.
Det er okay.
No recording this mantra?
It is recorded. Everything is recorded.
Recordings.
It is recorded, don't worry.
Surya worship?
Om Suryaya Namah. But your Lagna Lord is Mercury, right?
Just I'm asking.
Om Adityaya Namah. Or,
Ma?
you know, Om Adityaya Namah.
Amadityaya.
You know an even better mantra, don't you? Ram Namah Adityaya Mama Karma Prakashaya Prakashaya Satyam Bruhi Bruhi Swaha. Right? You know that mantra? So use that.
For Surya.
That is Surya, isn't it? That's your Surya, your personal Surya. Aditya is your personal Surya. Remember we did that entire lesson on Surya Jyoti and the Lagna Lord. You can use all of those names for Surya. There's no restriction. Ask anything you want to ask. Shiva, any mantra you want to Shiva.
If I want to activate Saturn in my chart,
Which one?
Saturn, for example,
What about Saturn?
if I want to activate Ruta,
Saturn's a Ruda.
yeah,
Yes?
my case is in the 5th house because it's in the sign, so
So how is Saturn the 5th or Ruda in the 5th house? Where's A5? You want to find A5, yes?
yeah, I have 6th house, it's called Kumbha,
Yes?
and Saturn is there,
5th house is Kumbha, Saturn is there.
Yeah.
Yes? So the root of that will fall where?
therefore in 5th house.
From where?
There's 2 here,
It will fall in 2nd house. Right? Exception.
yeah,
10th therefrom it will fall.
6th.
Which is in 2nd house. 2nd house, which is the Titi for 2nd house?
Shiva.
So for some reason before you even asked the question I was saying for Shiva, any Shiva mantra. You have to do Shiva mantra. For A5. A root of 5th house, Shiva mantra.
For
Good
Rama?
work.
Do you, Rama, for example?
For Rama, if Aruda is in 9th house, you can do any mantra for Rama. Diego likes Om Namo Bhagavate Ramachandraya. I prefer Om Namo Bhagavate Maharajaya. Okay? Like that you can have different mantras for Ram. According to Rama Rahasya Upanishad, you can just say Rama, 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 Rama. That's enough.
Kalika?
Kalika. Oh, for Kalika, you must come with many sweets. Be very nice to your guru, then maybe he'll give you Kalika mantra. But what you can do is Cream Kalike Swaha. Cream Kalike Swaha.
Satyanarayana is different one.
Om Namo Narayanaya. Or Om Namo Bhagavate Satyadevaya. Satyadevaya is more appropriate.
But then with the Rusa, you activate the planet or the house?
Satyaviva.
Aruda. Arudas.
Ruda,
Whichever Ruda is in that house, you activate that.
What is that? E10, A10 for the work.
Yes, I did that. I have a Ruda of 10,000 Lagna. So I did heavy Agni worship and then I started my career as an astrologer. No, I was doing Agni worship all the time. All the time.
Om Agni Namah.
Yes, Om Agni Nama is a good mantra. It's a very good mantra. You should do that.
Agni.
Yes.
Om Lakshmi Namah. Lakshmi.
Yes. Yes.
Is there another
We
one?
prefer, when we worship Lakshmi, we have to add the word Shri. So it can be Om Shri Lakshmi Nama or just Shri Lakshmi Nama.
The mantra of Subramanya, you say.
Hrim Subramanyaya Nama.
Hrim Subramanya. Yeah, yeah.
Is there any special for Vishnu here?
Om Vishnave Nama. You learned today.
Om Vishnu Namah.
12,000. Anything else? Let's go through this slide. Now something new. That's rule on Vahana. See, the Devata always sits opposite the house, as the house is its Aruda vehicle. So although we said Ganesha is in the fourth house, or fourth Chitti, in truth, what is in the fourth house is the mouse. And Ganesha sits opposite that, riding it. Okay? For example, Aruda Lagna in fourth house is Ganesha Aruda, but Ganesha sits in 10th house opposite the same Aruda. As a result, it's like having Ketu in 7th house from Aruda Lagna, and thus Rahu is on the Aruda Lagna, because Ganesha is Ketu, right? So Ketu will be in 10th house, and then if Ketu is in 10th house, Rahu must be in 4th house. You see this? Do you understand this? Think about it a little bit. Okay. Similarly, Durga Aruda is when Aruda Lagna is in 10th house. Those with the Aruda Lagna in 10th house will have this trait. They'll be like Durga. Durga will sit in the 4th house and is like having Moon or Rahu in the 4th house. Just as previously in the latter case of having Rahu in the 7th house, the effects of Ketu on the 10th, all the Aruda Lagna will be felt.
What effect is
Okay. It is, see the Aruda, though in the 4th house for Ganesha, Ganesha sits opposite. He looks at it from the opposite side. It doesn't change your Tithi order. It doesn't change this worshipful order, no. Don't think you must start reversing everything. No. It is only symbolic, that it's like the Devata sits opposite and looks at the 4th house. For example, Ganesha will sit in 10th and look at the 4th house Aruda. You look over there. You are the mouse in the 4th house, he's Ganesha in the 10th house. If the mouse must sit in 4th house and Ganesha in 10th house, Ketu will be in 10th house, Rahu in 4th house. Because Ganesha is Ketu.
But will the person be like Ganesha? Or
They'll be like Rahu.
Rahu.
Yes. Okay.
Okay, interesting.
Similarly, Durga Ruda is 10th house. Now Durga, although the Aruda sits in 10th house, who is Durga's Aruda? Who does he ride? Lion. So the lion will be in the 10th house where your Aruda is. So you, if you have Aruda Lagna in 10th house, you will be like a lion. Lion, mane, strong, roaring all the time.
No comment.
Okay. You'll be like a lion.
Okay.
And Durga will sit in 4th house. You are her lion. She will sit in 4th house because you are in the 10th house. She rides you as the lion in the 10th house, but she sits in 4th. Now, if Durga is in 4th, it's like having either Rahu or Moon in 4th house, right? If it's Rahu in 4th house, Ketu will automatically be in 10th house. So the person will be like Ketu. Okay?
And
Ketu,
what
lots
if-
of hair.
And what if it's moon?
If it's moon, it's maybe like sun, but there's no guarantee there. Okay? Understand? Interesting principle. You thought you knew Arudas, right? Yeah. Everybody knows Arudas. Yes. Therefore, Arudas which fall in the 4th or 10th from the house in question. For example, for Lagna, 10th or 4th from Lagna. These will suffer constant destruction by the nodes on the Aruda. Aruda Lagna in 4th or 10th. It's like having nodes constantly destroying the Aruda.
So is it not true?
It is a problem. We already said before, the only reason the Aruda fell there was because it could not sit in 1st or 7th. Right? So it's constantly getting destroyed in 1st or 7th. So it goes to the 4th and 10th to be recreated there. And then once in a while they forget it's 4th or 10th, they go back to 1st and 7th, get destroyed and go back to the 10th house. What is their subtle meaning? Because of the nodes there. What is the other meaning? You may not have Aruda Lagna in 4th or 10th, but if nodes join your Aruda Lagna, the Aruda is suffering destruction all the time. Right?
So that means you all the time feel like doing something new.
You will feel that what you're doing is falling down, it's being destroyed, and you have to recreate something. Create something new. It's not only just about recreating something. It is also about, you will see the destruction, and you see, I have to do something new. Why do you have to do something new? Because something is destroyed. Something is not enough. Something cannot sustain.
Is that just the Ruda Lagna or the Lord of it as well?
No, just to Aruda Lagna. Just to Aruda Lagna.
So that
They're
means that
saying Arudas.
Any Aruda having the nodes out will get
this
destroyed.
Lagna alone, Lord Kendras is actually not good.
Ah, correct. You got it. Correct. Interesting, isn't it? Good for intelligence. How will the intelligence reach that level of consciousness? If he lets go of Maya. Now you understand. You have to, not this man, you have to let go of the Maya. Only when the Lagna Lord lets go of the Maya, that does intelligence start working.
So from that angle, it's good that the Maya gets destroyed all the time.
Otherwise, how will your brain work? It's constantly stuck in Maya. How will it go beyond Maya? How will it break free of the Maya?
As soon as she goes home, then
Unless the Maya is destroyed. Unless the Maya is destroyed, you cannot break free. Her name is not Maya today, it's Yami.
You know,
So don't worry. She's reversing the Maya now.
That is why Lagna Lord in same house is constantly transformation.
Yes,
The
constantly.
person constantly
All the
reform,
time.
change.
But it is also,
Correct.
was it not also said that Kendras are support, like Vishnu, that can support your
Yes.
life and give you resources, support, and I don't know.
Yes, if Lakshmi is there, then yes. Otherwise, no.
Otherwise, no.
Yeah, there's something called Kendradipati dosha, right?
Yeah.
Okay. It has a relation to that. Okay. All work, no pay.
but so it's not the same if a Ruda Lagna Lord conjoins Rahu or Ketu.
To some extent. Not so much though. Not really. How many titis are there?
15?
Hmm?
15.
15.
16.
16.
with the Amavasya.
Oh. No, they are 15. They are 15. Okay. So these 15 titis we can worship with one mantra. Here's a way to worship with one mantra. So that you will overcome all the titis. Kaila Hrim Hasakahala Hrim Sakala Hrim Ka E Ai La Hrim Ka E Ai La Hrim Ka E Ai La Hrim. 5 sounds are there for the first 5 titi. Then Ha Sa Ka Ha La Hrim. Hasaka Hala Hrim. Hasaka Hala Hrim.
Hal.
Hasaka Hala Hrim. Sakala Hrim. Hasaka Hala should be 6 aksharas. Then Sakala Hrim should be 4.
What do you mean 4? Sakala is 3.
Sakala Hrim. It's Hrim also, right?
Okay.
Sakaharin.
Sakala Hrim.
Sakalarin. Sakalarin.
4, 10.
You should get 15 total. Kaila Hrim. Hasaka Hala Hrim. Sakala Hrim.
That means 15 indeed.
15 total.
What's the left? The next 4.
Sakala Hrim.
Sakala.
Sakala Hrim. Sakala
Sakalarin.
Hrim. Sakala Hrim.
Sakalarin.
I only have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10.
You're missing Kaila Hrim to begin with.
Ka E
Ka E Ai La
La
Hrim.
Ka E Ai La Hrim.
Then Hasaka Hala Hrim is the next. Sakala Hrim is the third. 3 parts.
Second.
Sakala Hrim is the last part.
And could you say them consecutively like that?
Yes. Sakala Hrim.
Ajakala Jala Hrim.
What?
Second.
Hasaka Hala. Hasaka Hala Hrim.
Hala Hala.
And this is for titis.
Repeat after me. Kaila Hrim. Hasaka Hala Hrim. Sakala Hrim. Om. Shodashi mantra.
Wow.
And this is for all titis, including those dosha titis and
Even to be sure you fixed everything, you went a 16-syllable mantra and went beyond. Jagannath Swami. This is the mantra for Shodashi.
Number.
Tripura Sundari.
Tripura Sundari.
Break. I need a break.
This is Tripura Sundari mantra.
Tripura.